that's a good hand for Theo. You have fodder, you have a carver, and
Yeah, not bad.
that's all you can really ask for.
Absolutely.
We
Let's make sure to
also
tell our players that they are good to go. Looks like a keep, as you said. Pretty good hand there for Theo. And let's get down to the action. Let's get this started. We want to see lots of Eternal today. So as you said, pretty good hand. You got 1-drops. You got Sacrifice Outlets. You've got that Champion of Chaos. You've got the Engine and Carver. And it looks like AsheAcer's got a hand of 4 power, a Petition, Ascendant Agent, and a Damara Deft Saboteur.
you also have Combust, which isn't amazing in every matchup, but when your opponent's playing or paying 4 for a Sandstorm Titan and Vara, and you get to say, I'm paying 1 and I kill that, you get pretty far ahead. I think, yeah, we're going to see an attack and then a carve. Probably the Grenadin drone itself, not the token.
All right, seeing a Shadow Sigil there. And that's pretty nice off the Carver. Being able to use that, get your power drop every turn is sort of the best hits you can get.
I want to point out that Theo didn't play the Gleaming Grenadin first, because that 1 damage isn't worth possibly hitting a 2-drop or a 3-drop that you want to play if you don't draw power.
All right, Krenadin Merchant the draw, and here comes a Tokus the draw this turn, and that's going to be a huge draw. But going with the Krenadin Merchant first, going to want to deal with these units that are out there before playing out their Tokus. What is Ashe going to draw from the Void? You've got an Edict, a Nullblade, a Xenon Temple, an Azendel, and a Silverblade Menace. Unfortunately, nothing really to deal with a cheap go-wide threat. No Aeromots designs or anything like that.
I think Nullblade probably, although I could see Temple.
Yep, and Nullblade is the draw. Good call there. Devour the draw for Theo.
I think Theo can... They can attack with everything. They can just accept. That's going to trade. Or they could open contract, but what that runs into is, if the game goes on enough longer, it's going to start allowing AsheAcer to double spell with their big things. They'd normally only be able to play 1 of a turn.
And they did draw that Nullblade, yep. As you mentioned. One thing I wanted to mention while they're thinking about this, I realize now I forgot to mention before the broadcast, in addition to qualifying for the Invitational, the winner today also receives $20 courtesy of the Misplay podcast. So we appreciate that support from the podcast. Definitely go check them out. One of the many great Eternal podcasts. Do you know if there's any other great ones as well, Boxer?
Yeah, there are a lot of them. I'm a co-host of the Backlash podcast with Notorious GHP.
Absolutely. So definitely go check that out. Boxer does a great job, and we really appreciate you sacrificing your your potential invitational run here to help commentate with us in the first challenge. Much appreciated. And thank you, Warface,
I'm
for
waiting
the follow.
I'm waiting until Doc's qualified and says, "Oh, I'm going to sit this one out."
Absolutely. All right, and they're using that Devour, drawing more Devours. Keep drawing those cards.
I hit for 7. That's a lot. AsheAcer's down to 11 now. One problem, or does AsheAcer have a Tazboo in hand?
They do not. They have Tokas, Nullblade, Blight Moth, Treasure Trove, and Exploit.
Yeah, I think we're just going to see that. Yeah, it's Nullblade to take care of that champ. It's not the most efficient, but it's the best thing you can be doing with your market if you're AsheAcer. Theo kind of has a choice here. He could devour one of those and hope to hit a power, or just play the champ. I like just playing the champ.
Yeah, I think so. That's big. 5/5 Deadly Overwhelms. Something to deal with. AsheAcer going to start off with a Petition to start things off. Going to grab a Sylex here. You know, Silexes, even after the nerf, you know, they're still played in certain decks. This is the type of deck that can afford to play those Silexes and still get some value off of it. And then, you know, fire off a Blight Moth and take care of that Grenadin here. And then right after you play the Blight Moth, here comes the assembly line for Theo. Good timing, good timing.
So, playing that Devour here is kind of interesting, because if the Blight Moth blocks, then it can try and go after the assembly line. But you could have just... Oh, wait. Was Theo only on 4 power? If he was on 5, before devouring, he could have played the line, attacked, and made AsheAcer think, okay, I'm going to block, and then I'm going to use the Blight Moth, and Devour could have stopped it from killing all of them.
Yeah.
But now Theo can't really
Yeah,
play the assembly
you
line.
can't assembly line here. This is kind of awkward power base.
Actually, he can if he thinks that'll bottleneck AsheAcer enough on power to let him end the game.
Sure, that's a good point. If that takes all of AsheAcer's turn and there's nothing else it can do, but yeah, that's a good point. And there's actually Ash doesn't really have any way. Really have a way to deal with this champion in hand. They've got 3 treasure troves, a banner, and a Tokas.
I think they should have troved first to try and hit a banish.
And there's a Sabertooth Pride Leader, but that's not, they can't cast that. And unfortunately, AsheAcer just stuck with nothing to do. You know, you end the game with 3 treasure troves in hand. And that's unfortunate, but that's what ended up happening there, and couldn't stop that. That was a little surprising. I thought that AsheAcer, you know, their life total was just too low. I thought they were going to be able to stabilize there, but unfortunately, it didn't really work out. And Xenindex, I guess Xenindex, you really need to hit your power, and you really need to play things out to survive. But well played by Theo to end that game quickly before AsheAcer was able to start playing out their heavy hitters.
Yeah, Sacrifice decks and Champion of Chaos are 2 things historically time decks have had problems with. So when you're combining them here, it's an uphill battle for AsheAcer. I'm pretty confident saying that it's favored for Theo.
Absolutely. All right, let's head back down to game 2. The Overmaster winning that first one. It's like AsheAcer's going to mulligan. Their 7 is 4 power, 2 suffocates, and Ascendant Agent. And not the greatest, but better than 6, I guess.
I think this is I like this keep from Theo because you play the drone and then you can play Devour, and you should hit power. Like you can't be playing a deck like this and be afraid to play Devour on 2 hit power.
Mm-hmm.
It just comes up so often and it works so often. Sometimes it doesn't, but you're going to lose more games from not keeping these hands than you are from keeping them and missing. So the options here are devouring or just playing a symbol, and I don't like devouring main phase. Well, actually, no, that plays around Tokas. I was going to say not devouring plays around Blight Moth, but there's 3 Blight Moths and there's 4 Tokas.
Mm-hmm. All right, open contract the draw here. Good card to have. Don't need it yet. Got that Kato. You got the Shadow symbols.
I think we'll see a Kato here because that stopped Blight Moth from killing all your units.
Yeah, but here comes that Ascendant Agent on that Kato.
There aren't a lot of targets for Ascendant Agent, so I like that play. You know, killing it 2-1 isn't the most exciting, but the only other thing it can really kill is Carver.
Right, here comes Sandstorm Titan. That's a big boy we haven't seen in a while. Good blocker here, but of course the 1 cost removal spell's just going to be able to deal with that Sandstorm Titan pretty quickly here, pretty easily for the Overmaster. All right, looking at Send an Agent, and I believe they kept that Send an Agent on top, I think.
Huh, that's an interesting decision. I wonder how long they looked over Theo's deck list for this, because if you only quickly glanced over it, that's an easy mistake to make, but there really are not. There's only the Grenadin tokens, Kato, and Carver to hit.
Mm-hmm. You go. Ash down to 17. They did keep that Sennin Agent on top. Here comes that Null Blade. And that's going to be able to take care of this strange burglar pretty cleanly.
They had a lot more life this game, and there's no Champion of Chaos.
I was just going to say, it's a lot cleaner for them last game. They have a lot more room to work with here.
So Theo could have tried to devour into Shrine plus power, but it's without doing the math, I'll just put that as unlikely to happen. Probably just keep this. Oh, I was gonna say just keep that power to. Well, actually, this opens up Fire Conjuring.
All right, Tazboo going to hit the board for AsheAcer. 6/6 deadly. And can take damage and draw cards when one of the units dies. Not as relevant here. Theo's going to go to the market here.
Ooh, there's also Madness, but oh, no way to sacrifice it.
Yeah, no way to sacrifice it, unfortunately. That would be a sweet interaction.
But does that open up, like, how close to lethal is that?
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, that's 11 damage. 11 damage this turn.
Go for that.
Yeah.
Oh wait, how much?
Is this lethal here? Block 1.
That's 11 as well. Yeah, they're both the same. One leaves you. Oh, yeah, that.
No. Well, invoking a Pyrotech Explosion helps too.
The fact that it's a Fire Conjuring definitely helps. Like, you know, if it was a Justice Conjure, if it invoked a Justice card,
yeah.
Even like assuming he could play it, that would be different. But Fire has a lot of burn.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, doesn't really matter. Yeah, it doesn't really matter what AsheAcer is going to do. We're just going to see a Pyrotech Explosion to the face. So congratulations, the Overmaster, on taking it a relatively quick